In continuation to the previous discussion on 4 lenses of strategy, we had a discussion on the design lens of strategic management. In this slide, we will see the experience lens. Experience lens is basically a criticism on the design school. Design school assumes that the strategy is a systematic process. Strategic management, by the way, is a systematic procedure. But experience lens says that strategy is a cumulative wisdom or experience of the manager. This lens assumes that the managers have a set of information they have, but on the basis of the experience they have, they actually find out or select the certain kind of information for them, and they process that information to make the strategy. So here in this lens, the strategy is more about the experience of the managers. This is not about the systematic procedure. It says that we have many kind of information available, but managers do not process all of that information. They process only that chunk of information which is needed for them. So this also assumes, this experience lens also assumes that cognitive bias is also possible. By cognitive bias, we mean that we have certain kind of information which we need and certain kind of information which we do not need. So we do not process all of the information, and we have some bounded rationality. By bounded rationality, we mean that we cannot rationally execute each and everything. So in the experience lens, the focus is on the experience of the managers, of the hierarchies in the organization, of the CEOs and the managers in the organization. Not all other are involved in this organization, in this experience lens of strategy making. So when we map it on the experience lens, when we map it on this 3 axes, we see that rationality is low to medium, which means that sometimes we don't have the rationale behind our experience. That is, the decision is backed by the experience, not by the rationale. And by legitimacy, it means that, as I have already explained, that it is not assumed in the experience then that it is not the right of each and every person in the organization to make the decision. So the legitimacy is high. So rules and procedures are to be followed. And similarly, when we see the third point, which is the innovation is also very low, which means, because the innovation, why innovation is low here? Because only one manager or the CEO is involved in this procedure. There are no multiple people involved. So only the experience of certain people is involved in this strategy lens. So concluding the experience lens, we can say that the legitimacy is very high, rationality is medium to low, and innovation is very low in this experience lens. And this involves the experience of the managers and CEOs, and it rejects the idea of systematic procedures involved in the organization. The next is the idea lens. The idea lens, by definition, says the strategy may emerge as a response to the organization, to the environment. What does it mean? It means that the ideas are generated on the basis of the emergence and the interaction of the organization with the environment. It means that we may not be able to follow the systematic procedure because we have a certain kind of information we have. Actually, this lens says that the environment may change with the passage of time, and the information we are having will change time to time. So the ideas may emerge and the strategy may emerge according to the interaction of organization with the environment. This lens is about the variation, selection, and retention. By variation, we mean that we have multiple kind of information, and that may change over the passage of time. And we select certain kind of information which is needed for the organization. And then we retain that information for the organization according to the suitability of the organizational internal and external environment. So ideal lens is about having certain kind of differences with other lenses that are about the systematic procedure or having the experience with the same kind of information. This lens is about having different kind of ideas and different kind of innovative information which we may have, and different combination of the information which we may develop over the passage of time with the interaction of organization with the environment. So when we map it on the idea lens, but then we map it on this axis, we see that the legitimacy is medium to low. When we map the idea lens on these three axes, we see that rationality is medium to low, which means that we may not have the logics behind every strategy we are developing under this idea lens. So it means that the rationality may be low, but the legitimacy is also low. The idea may be developed by anyone else in the organization other than the CEO and the managers, while the innovation is very high, which means that with the interaction of the environment, with the environment of different persons, different brains inside the organization, they may develop different ideas to develop the strategy. So legitimacy is low and the rationality is also low, but the innovation in this lens is very high. The next is the discourse lens. Discourse lens by definition says the strategy is focusing the dynamics of interaction among managers and subordinates. Actually, this discourse lens focuses on the interaction of CEOs and all of the brains in the organization. It assumes that whichever the strategy we are taking, for example, the systematic procedures or by experience or by the idea, actually the strategy is in the communication of CEOs with the subordinates they are. For example, this discourse lens actually assumes that in the meetings, in the communication, and in the language, whatever is communicated to the subordinates, that is the strategy. And it can be followed in the basis of the systematic procedures, on the basis of the ideas, or on the basis of experience. But it is evident in the language of the managers. So when we map the discourse lens on these three axes, we see that the rationality is medium to low, or medium. Yes, it's around the medium. But what does it mean? It means that there is a certain logic. We may say that there is some kind of medium level of logics behind the strategy development under this lens. But when we say the legitimacy, it is about the CEOs who are communicating the strategy to their subordinates. So legitimacy is high, while innovation is also medium, because it involves all of other three lenses. So we may say that it is a very different kind of lens, and it involves all these three things: rationality, legitimacy, and innovation. The rationality and innovation is a medium level, while legitimacy is high because of the involvement of CEO and his communication with the subordinates.